Good morning, everyone. As always, here is the risk disclosure. Trading futures is risky. Know what you're doing before you do it, and you can lose all your money. Hey, everybody. Good morning. How are y'all doing? Just having to set up my trade copier here. Looks like there was already a simplicity long here, but I haven't really analyzed my charts yet, and it looks like it's going towards settlement. So just set up my trade copier settings here. All right. Hey, Luis, bon dia. Vegas, good morning. David, Peter, Jeremy, Todd, Jimmy, Murray, everybody. Good morning, y'all. Anything good happening yet? Thank you. You too. Hope you have a great trading day today. Just want to point out the 50 tick chart. Look at that beautiful mess. That's ugly. And we're hovering around settlement, it looks like, most of the morning, all morning. So technically, you would have an LRE here, but I would not take it because we're in the mix of a lot of nastiness. And it's kind of hit the top of this little area. It may want to go to settlement. It looks like it's testing some double clusters on the 30 tick, but it's just too risky for me. See how it's pulled up from this crash, come back down right to where these double clusters are on the left, exactly to the tick, to the middle of those clusters. And it probably would have given enough to get a win there. Let me see. Yeah, but there's no trend really happening. So that's whenever I look for my breakouts, when there's not really a trend going on. You can see it's kind of sideways. Simplicity doesn't look that nice. Yeah, it looked like there was a nice little short here on the simplicity chart. But that was going through settlement, so I would have probably skipped that one too. It's weird. Since I upgraded the Ninja Trader with this new move we did, I can't get it to fill this little spot right here on the right on my screen. It's in full screen mode also. It's doing that on a couple of my charts. Haven't really messed with it much though. It's just if I keep noticing it, it's going to bother me. Let's see. No news. I don't see news. Let's check real quick earnings. See if there's any earnings. Bring this over here. In case you don't know, you can go to apexinvesting.com and go to the news calendar. Here's the earnings list. Today is the 25th. Looks like at 8 a.m., 6:30, 8 a.m. Looks like we've already had all the news. Just check on this side. 7, 4. Yeah, we've already had all the earnings come out. Yeah, news at 10. For those of you looks like something that came up at 9. S&P composite, HPI month over month. Yeah, a couple things just popped up at 9. 10, of course, is the high impact news. I'm not trading by then. I'm already done. So yeah, I like that crash on the 30 tick chart. Let me pull that over. Right there. Nice little crash here. Oh, you said at 4, down to the 30 tick crash, 410. Oh, yeah, that's a nice crash down there. We've got a bunch down below, some areas that of interest should it go down. Yeah, I like to look at areas like that on the 30 tick especially. That could be areas of interest or significant levels, and I look for breaks of it or tests of it. Let's see here. Yeah. Might be a slow morning if it stays like this. Which, I noticed so I predominantly trade NQ. And what I noticed a lot, especially, I've noticed this for a while, for over a year, is a lot of times I'll see the market will have a good run of a few weeks, and then it'll go on a nice 2-3 week, just kind of an ugly session, and almost like clockwork from what I've noticed. A few weeks of good, and then a few weeks of just kind of ugly, got to be careful areas. And that's what used to mess me up, is I'd have those streaks where it's great and I'm getting good trades, and then all of a sudden the market gets ugly for those couple weeks, and I start forcing things. But pretty much for this year, I stopped doing that, and on those days I just don't take a trade. So instead of going negative for those bad market weeks, I stay flat, and then that's what's really helped me out a lot. So just something to kind of think about as we sit here with nothing happening. The 10-minute chart really shows it. Yeah, I like to look at those too to see. Let me pull mine up. Oh yeah, that 10-minute chart looks ugly. There's that 10-minute dynamic magnet chart. Looks ugly. Here's I do like to keep an eye on these 60-minute flux levels, because when you can identify tops and bottoms with that, then that's great. Like, for example, up here, this flux around 11, this flux at 11.513. If we got a long and it breaks above that, look how many times it got rejected. It'll probably run. Same thing down here on these double dynamic magnets. If it breaks it, I would probably think it'd run down to this flux. So I look at those things too when I'm taking simplicity trades. No, Jimmy, I'm not taking Lorex trades. I'm only taking LREs and simplicities. And the reason why I mentioned this on one of my other streams is because I've pretty much conditioned my brain, my mind, and the way I'm trading and what I'm looking for these specific LRE trades and simplicity trades, that whenever I tried to do Lorex, whenever pretty much it kind of came out, my problem was I was picking the wrong Lorex trades. I just hadn't watched them enough and really, I guess, got a feel for when the good ones, when to take the good ones, what's good, what's bad. So I just said, you know what, I'm just sticking to what I'm good at. But they are great trades. I mean, they're probably the highest, well, they are the highest probability sniper trades for sure. And I watch them. I mean, I watch them and I watch them win often. It's hard to not want to take them because you see a great Lorex and that thing will just run and you're like, dang. And then I would take the next one and that would be the one that loses. So I was just like, you know what? I'm not, I just need to focus on my bread and butter, which is the LRE for sure. Yeah, not much going on. Yeah, let me look. Check out my market analyzer. Yep. 109, 660. I mean, it's building up a little bit, but not much. Might be getting a short right into this ZOI crash on the 30 tick. Maybe not. Either way, I'm not taking it because it's going right into that crash. Bill, they have, so in the simplicity section on the Apex Bootcamp, simplicity is the last trade setup. In there, I think there's one or two videos that explain it. And I think, let me see, market's not doing anything. I think it's called, simplicity, low risk entries, something like that. Let me check. So in this section, number 5, master the sniper and simplicity setups. If you scroll down to trailing trades with simplicity, then let's see. These are the simplicity rules. Right here, simplicity LRE review. Oh, right here, re-entries and lower risk entries. That's the main video you want to watch. Oh my goodness, those bots. So this is the main video you want to watch to learn the LRE. And then he does a simplicity LRE review. So that'd be the initial one, but you do need to know what, the entry is for simplicity and how to use that. Because you have to have a valid simplicity trade to before you have a valid LRE. And yeah, I was gonna get to that, Todd. So after you know how simplicity works and how LRE works, and you've pretty much mastered the boot camp, highly 110% recommend the Thrive course. And John goes into a LRE video in Thrive of how to take level 3 and 4, basically no-brainer LREs, how to take better LREs than just your basic entry. And then after those, I do have to show you here on my channel, I have this video, Mastering the LRE Trade Setup. And that's basically everything I look for an LRE, on how I take my LREs. Tanner, so the system, you have to have the gold membership with Apex. The boot camp, I believe, is the silver. But they have a special whenever after you finish boot camp and you want to actually be on the subscription for the Apex trading tools. They have the gold for silver subscription for $200 a month. So that's what I pay, is $200 a month, and then you do have to have subscribe to CBOE indices through either IQ Feed or Kinetic, and that runs about $80 a month. So you're looking at a total of about $280 a month to run everything. But, I do have to say one trade pays for it for sure. Awesome, Todd. Glad to hear that. Yeah, that was my goal with it too, is, I found some success with trading the LREs, and I figured, I'll just kind of share what has been working for me, and hopefully it works for somebody else. Because that's kind of Daryl does a lot of simplicity trades, and Lori looks for the Lorex trades a lot. So, and I know Daryl takes LREs too, but I figured if I just kind of go in to a little bit of a deeper dive for LREs, then it may be, useful. Because that's also with LREs, you because you have set stops and targets, you don't really have to go to micros on that. You could trade like one mini depending on your account size, and just have to have a good money management, know when to stop if you do lose. Because that was always my thing. I loved simplicity and everything, but I really didn't want to do micros personally, because if I can make more by taking one sniper with, one mini, to me it was easier and better than sitting in a big simplicity trend with micros to make about the same thing. So then with LREs, I can trade minis. That just called my name. Yeah, when you're learning, though, for sure, I agree. When you're learning to start, don't just jump in, and you definitely want to learn with micros or sim, and then once you've got it down, then you can move to a mini. What's that, Nikita? Hey, how are you, by the way? Oh, did you paste something maybe in there? I don't know if this chat that I'm looking at will show. Yeah, exactly. You have a big stop, and sometimes the stop's even larger than that. Okay, let me pop open the YouTube because I'm just looking at my streaming program chat. Let me pop open YouTube and see what it is. Because anything to help the spammers, I am for. Yeah, we might be getting a short under this crash. Let's see what happens. We do have that green ice right below. Might get it early. See, we're hitting the bottom of where the 30 tick hit a minute ago. Oh, we just created another crash where that crash was. So let's see what happens from here. Yeah, exactly. Jeff, that's yeah. That's how I felt. And I had to do everything everything possible to keep my discipline in check. And little things like that, because I was so bad with discipline, little things like that could just trigger an out of control spiral. So I had to do everything possible to make sure I don't have anything happen to really, set me off. And that would be one of them. Yeah, Nikita, this one, I mean, I like that it left another crash here, so that's telling me that this is a very significant area. So when it leaves this area, especially, I mean, if it runs short, if it gives us a short from here, then it may run. But the thing is, you got to keep in mind too, it just recently laid another crash, so it very well could kind of go away from it and then come back and test it because it's a new crash now. Yeah, and I would prefer, so it's kind of, there's kind of a zone here on the 30 tick. Here's the bottom area to the left, but then you have a bottom back here. Even it's my simplicity chart's covering it. Hold on. That's not gonna work. Hold on a second. If I go left, okay, here we go. There's kind of a bottom here below the ice, right? So and it's hit that a few times. Came back, laid a crash here. Didn't quite make it to ice. Trying again, so it is the fourth hit of this area, but even if it comes down to ice, I'd still be kind of wanting to see if it could break that, because it could come back down and test this ice area and then go back up. So we just kind of have to kind of see what it wants to do here, if it wants to do anything at all. But those levels down there below on the 30 tick, mini magnet ZOI is around 430, 150 and below. Basically between 430, 150 and about 426 might run down to and go there. I just don't like the way the market's moving today. It's not really doing much. But I might try a short here. I'll just have to trail it kind of tight if we get a short. So like I said, this area here on my simplicity chart, it may run down to if we get a short. But as it approaches the ice area, I'll probably get tight on it. That's if we get a short. Yep, not much going on. Left a nice little level here. ZOI crash on the 10 tick with a paw and a mini magnet right below the dynamic magnet, which is that same level with the ZOI crash on the 30 tick. But it's not really going to do much for me right now. Still pure ugliness on the 50 tick.
Double cluster NQ. Potential OP rejection on NQ. OP rejection on NQ.
Yeah. Yeah, if you could trade that coil chop on the 50 tick, which actually, that would be good if you're on the top of a bar and maybe you get a Lorex short or vice versa. That might be something good. Lorex long if you're at the bottom of the bar. That could probably be a way to trade it. That solid orange line is a paw from my 30 tick chart. I copy them to my simplicity and my 10 tick chart, and I make them thicker so I know it's from the 30 tick chart. Because that orange dotted line is my dynamic magnets, and I don't want to confuse the two.
Potential TX on NQ.
If we get a long above this, I might try to take it to settlement. Above that paw. There's not really much. There's a ZOI. No, that's the settlement. That's settlement. May be ready to break above to settlement. It's only about a
Trap orders with exhaustion box.
less than 10-point move, though.
Potential setup B on NQ. Setup B on NQ.
Yeah, this market's just ugly. Let's see. Just triggered a long. It may not go, but I'm going to see if this is the break to settlement here. Yeah, I mean, it's not a no-brainer. Because it made its way back up to that level, that dynamic level that it kept kind of bouncing at a little bit, that if it breaks it, which it broke it just a little bit, if it breaks it, then my thinking was that it may take a settlement run, but it might not, because it still has been stuck in this range, and it broke the 50 tick chop bar just a little bit, but it did do that a little bit earlier too. So, and come back down. So it could be not ready. I mean, this is the 5th bar on the 50 tick. So after 4, a lot of times it'll go, but it might just stay in the chop. We'll see what happens. The only thing really up above is settlement. There's a lot below to pull it down, so this one may not work. We're getting basically in the dark zone now, even though it's low impact news. Yeah, we got about 5 minutes till the news. We had a push of volume too whenever it broke that paw. So that's why I wanted to jump in then, and thinking just kind of like another reason why I thought it might go. But let's see what it does here. Might get caught in this news. Yeah. Hadn't closed above it. If we get a nice little push above it, I'll move to break even. But it's hit that level a few times now here in the last couple minutes and struggling. If I move my stop now, it'll probably stop me out. So I'm going to wait a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and move to break even in case this thing decides to go against me. Plus we have news coming out here in a couple minutes. Gonna move to the dotted line here in a second, since we hit that wall. Now I'm at the dotted line. In case if it doesn't, I could take profit now, but I'm gonna give this a little bit of room. It's laying a cluster. Let's see if it goes. There we go. Gonna move behind the wall. If this moves above settlement a good amount, then I'll go just under settlement and kind of leave it there. Just give it a little wiggle room. "9 a.m. news is out now. Let's see if it continues to run long. Here we go. Go under the wall now. It might come back and want to test settlement, but again, I like to trail tight. Let's hit that dynamic magnet, and I'm out. It's grabbed about 46 ticks or so on that one. I figured it'd probably get me out around there because I like to trail kind of tight. And I figured it might come back. It got me out to the tick. Look at that. Got me out to the tick, but that's fine. Like I said, when it comes to levels and areas, I kind of tighten up. Yeah, that was a nice one. I figured it would probably still keep running, but with settlement there, and it kind of didn't chop much around settlement, figured it might come back and test it, which it may still come back and test settlement. So I don't ever get, I guess, FOMO of getting stopped out of a simplicity too early. I don't anymore. I used to. Yeah, exactly. LRE plus. So right now an LRE would come back down to settlement, which I would not take. Now, if it comes back down to this dynamic magnet or wall, that's still pretty close to settlement. And we're kind of getting we have some ODD going on. Not sure I'd take an LRE here. We're kind of hitting the top. If you're looking left on the 30 tick. So I got to be careful of that. Although if we have HD or something as it's pulling down. Yeah, I don't have any OP on my 50 tick chart. See, that's the bad thing. An LRE right now is just below this wall, right above settlement. So I don't really like that. I would kind of like this to run a little further up. We do have some HD. We might get one here. If we keep this HD, looks like it wants to lay a mini magnet on the 30. If we could take one off this dynamic magnet with HD, then I might. If this comes down to the dynamic magnet, that bar closed up already. It'll be kind of choppy if it comes back down now. Still might take it though, because it's trying to lay a mini magnet on the 30 tick. Just don't love the chop. See if it sets something up at the dynamic magnet. See, if this little setup going on right now was at the dynamic magnet, I would like it. I'm going to get in.
Order submitted.
See if it breaks up to my target. It's a little choppy, so see if it goes though. Didn't get a great fill. Kind of hitting this little top, so I might, if it struggles up here, I might move to break even. Just need a little burst of volume here. It's struggling. I might go to, let's see. Just need a little burst. We got a cluster on the 30 tick now. I'm going to move to break even because I don't like that cluster on the 30 tick. Ooh, so close to my target. There we go. Filled all my accounts. Nice 25 tick LRE winner. Make sure everything got filled and everything's closed. Sure enough. And this is why I have switched up my ATM. As I mentioned, I have more of I'm shooting for 15 tick stop and a 25 tick target. If you remember yesterday, I took an LRE with all my, my funded accounts and everything and live accounts, and I lost. I only had one loser. And so that was about 15 ticks. And today, already, just one trade, I'm back in the profit for the week. So that's why I did that. And that's why I highly recommend figuring out a money management strategy for the day to have more than a 1-to-1 ratio. Yeah, see, I really, and that mini magnet stayed. Nikita, so my pre-market ATM is 15 ticks for a stop loss and 25 ticks for my profit target. And the reason, but you have to make sure you time your entries really good, because 15 ticks is not a lot, but that's only for pre-market. After the market opens, I go back to the 20 tick stop and 40 tick target. But you can see on my simplicity chart, it was trying to lay this mini magnet, which this black dotted line is a mini magnet on my 30 tick. It was trying to lay a mini magnet there while I was going long on top of this dynamic magnet. And we had, laid a cluster there on the 10 tick, came down, laid this paw on it, had a mini magnet right before. So it's kind of setting up a jump off point here to go long. But it did make me a little nervous when this cluster popped up right there, because that could have gone either way. And that's whenever I moved to break even, just in case. Yeah, that's good. Having a runner like that's fine too. Many different ways to do it. You keep it in one contract. So I trade. Well, it depends on the size. Richard, depends on the account size. I do trade multiple contracts. Now, whenever I go into, like, let's say, for example, a $50,000 account, when I just get it funded and I'm just starting out, I go down to one contract. In an evaluation, I typically will do 2. So pretty much I drop down. Sorry, my alerts are going crazy. I don't know if y'all can hear them, but it messes me up when I'm talking. But once I go funded, I basically reduce my contract size by half. And then in my money management videos, I have a little spreadsheet that tells me when to increase my contract size. So basically, when I'm in a funded account, I want to give myself around, we might get another long here. Hold on one second. Might get a long off this wall dynamic magnet DOI. Kind of went away. So I want to give myself about 12 days or so, 12 and a half days, 12, 13 days of taking full losers. Like, if my money management strategy is that if I lose 30 ticks on the day, I'm done for the day. So I want to be able to lose 12 times in a row, 12 days in a row before I blow out my account, because that shouldn't ever really happen, ever. Something's really wrong if that happens. In an evaluation, I want to give myself at least 6 to 7 days in a row. And I explain it with this little spreadsheet I made in my money management videos. So you could definitely check those out, and I go over it. It's a nice push up. I would have liked an LRE off of this dynamic magnet here, and that's what I was waiting for, but it never pulled down exactly quite to it. And on the simplicity chart, it never got down there either.
Set a B on NQ.
Even though I liked that as a push off, another push off spot. Okay, here's another thing to keep your eye on. As we're making our way up, look at the 50 tick. We're back to the top of the 50 tick chart. So here is where we have to take caution and see if it continues or if it wants to reject here. And if I'm not mistaken, that is about where the flux level was that I was mentioning earlier. Let's take a look.
Potential open
Yep.
rejection on NQ.
We're back at that flux that it couldn't break. So if it does break and continue running, it might run for a while. Yeah, it very well could hit that rose wall. And from there, we'll have to kind of wait and see what will happen. My opinion is, because we're on this nice long run, it'll probably go up and hit that and then maybe chop around until the open. But I've actually had a pretty good day today. That nice little simplicity. It was like 46 ticks or something, and then that LRE.
Potential TX on NQ. Trap orders with exhaustion
Yep.
box on NQ.
See, here we go. Might be coming down. We have HD though. And we might get an LRE off back around that level that I was mentioning. But if we chop around it a little bit and we hit that top now, I'd be hesitant to take
Potential
another long
TX on NQ.
if this starts really coming down. Although what I would like the best is for this to go ahead and give me a, well, I'm probably done for the day, but to give a reset, simplicity flip red, and then flip green again and go long and break that flux level and just run long to like the dev or something. But yeah, I'm not taking this LRE. It might be a good one though, because there was a cluster and a ZOI here on the 30 tick just under, so it may be coming to test that cluster. Todd, after the market opens, I go to a 20 tick stop and a 40 tick target on NQ. If it's YM, then yeah, I still leave it to a 20 tick stop and between a 20 to 30 tick target for YM. But yeah, definitely after the open, 15 ticks is just too small. 20 ticks, depending if how crazy the market is, sometimes 20 ticks can be too small too. So just kind of have to gauge the market and how zippy it is. But I don't risk more than those 20 ticks. Even if the market's crazy and the 20 ticks won't work, then I just won't take a trade. I just won't trade. And here, if this pulls down a little bit and gives an LRE, I definitely wouldn't take it anymore. Simplicity's going sideways. 10 tick is going sideways. We have another cluster popped up on the 30 tick. So I'd prefer this, like I said, to reset, flip red, then flip and go short, or flip green and go ahead and break this and run. But I think, like I said, it's going to chop around here until the open. So it's 9:18. I'm actually going to not take another trade. So not a bad little day there. Just a couple trades. No, I've never done it on ES. I know actually, so Chris has traded Simplicity and some LREs on ES, and he's had a pretty good success with it. You just, like anything else, be patient and look for the good ones. And actually, because ES doesn't run as many ticks as NQ or even YM, what he would do a lot of times is he'd jump into LRE and have a really small risk and just let that thing run. And sometimes he'd get nice 20, 30 tick runs. And on ES, that's a good trade, being at $12.50 per contract. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. It's 9:20. Not sure what it's going to do here, but about 5 minutes to the dark zone. So for those of you that are still going to be trading after the open, have a great day and trade well. I'll see y'all tomorrow. All right, take care, y'all.